Good morning there. Another exciting day on Quest Television and Radio. Yes, it's about time for the newspaper review where we look at the trending story in the world of news, sport and entertainment. My name is Sarah Omowigo and I will not be doing this alone today, for I am joined by Comrade Odomo, our analyst in the building, who is going to be sharing with us his thoughts on the papers this morning. All right, with that being said, let's quickly dive into the papers. And our first paper for review this morning is that of the Punch. And let's see the big story on the Punch paper. It reads, Labour suspends strike, OPS stakeholders tackles NLC TUC. Our kick on the NIDA story says, strike over Algeria's assault abuse of power, says LCCI. Maritime sector loses 20 billion naira. Labour threatens to resume strike, insistent demand, says suspension temporary. All of these you can find on page 2 of the Punch paper. Well, above the big story, that is the headline, we have here says Lagos, Kogi, Rivers lead as inflation hits 27.33%. You can find more on that on page 9, and on page 7 it says 177 deported Nigerians violated Saudi Arabia visa rules. Federal government reduces charge against Emefiele, strike stores arraignment. You can read more on that on page 7 of the Punch paper. Well, now let's come down below. The Punch paper says Labour Party welcomes Atiku's merger proposal. NNPP gives condition. You can read more on this on page 29. But what you will find on page 4 and 5 says Navy arrests 4 stowaways aboard Dubai vessel trying to flee the country by attaching themselves to ships. And the last story from the Punch paper says LASG dislogs arrest street traders in Oshodi, others. Well, that is the much we can take from the Punch paper. The next paper up for review is that of The Nation. And the big story of The Nation reads, reform comes with pains but inevitable, says federal government. There will be transparency in budgeting, expenditure, president, job creation, priority. Appeal court affirms Sanwo-Olu's victory. Navy stops UAE-bound stowaways. We have another one that reads, words to Shaibu, run for governor. You can read more on this on page 27 of the Nation's paper. It says, Kingsmen urge interest renewal. Government efforts okay to halt, soaring inflation. This is coming from you can read more on this rather on page 7 of the Nation's paper. It says rate rises to 27.33%. Senate moves to create federal data bank. Former finance minister Onalakbo Soleye dies at 90 years. You can read more on these stories on page 26 and page 6 of the Nation's paper. Well, other headlines from the Nation say Saudi government, 177 Nigerians came with irregular visas. We did no wrong, says Air Peace. Labour calls off strike after talks with NSA ministers. Suspects in assault on Ajaero arrested. UK Supreme Court rules government Rwanda asylum policy unlawful. Another one reads says Labour can't arrest democracy, says Oshomole. You can read more on this on page 28 of the Nation's paper. Well, because of time, we'll be jumping to the next paper, and that is a Daily Trust. And the big story reads, 2 children killed as fire razes 1,113 houses at Borno IDP camp. That is a sad one. Well, that is a big story of for the day. You can see the picture there. Burnt houses and people trying to gather their loss. Well, you can read more on that on page 4 of the Daily Trust. Well, another story says after grounding FCT state for 2 days, Labour suspends strike. More on that on page 4. And on page 5 says Israel wants to turn Gaza unlivable city. Palestinian envoy is the one saying this. Why we deported Nigerian passengers, Saudi authorities? Well, if you want to know, check page 6 of the Daily Trust. Inflation hits 27.3% as cost of food others rises. Christmas is just around the corner. Nigeria loses 1.3 trillion naira on waivers, concessions coming from customs. You can read more on this on page 26 of the Daily Trust. Senate wants Port Harcourt, Maiduguri rail upgrades to standard gauge. You can read more on this on page 6. Minority leadership, PDP senators settle for North Central. More on this on page 16 of the Daily Trust. Well, the last paper for review is the Nigerian Tribune. And the big story says, after meeting with NSA, Labour suspends strike. Federal government regrets attack on NLC president, says investigation in protests, arrests have been made. OAU lecturer slums dies in his office. You can read more of this story on page 25 of the Nigerian Tribune. $6 billion partnership with AFTA to transform trade across Africa, coming from UBA. You can read more of this on page 7, and on page 15 says 2 killed, 1,000 houses burnt as fire engulfs IDP camp in Borno. Minority leader, PDP senators settle for North Central. More of this on page 29 of the Nigerian Tribune. One party state, PDP, APC, BICA. Page 29 is where you will get more information on this story. New River CP orders arrest of notorious cultist Tubaba, other criminals. More on this on page 25 of the Nigerian Tribune. Another one says ex-finance minister Soloye dies at 90 years old. You can read more on this on page 30. Appeal court confirms Sanwo-Olu's re-election. That you can find on page 3, and on page 16 says while 177 Nigerian passengers visas were cancelled, Saudi embassy. Inflation rate jumps to 27.3% as food cost rises by 31.52%. More on this on page 6. And lastly, from the Nigerian Tribune, at editors' conference, Tinubu restates commitment to economic recovery. More of that on page 2. NGE president taps the details on promoting citizens access to information. But that is the much that we can take. Right about now, I will be getting over to my analyst to, yes, give us your take on the daily. So many stories this morning from the 4 tabloids that we have read. So yes, which of the story? I think the labor strike, it should be the number one.
Yes, but I think you're not treating me too well. Every morning you wet my throat, because when I hear fine wine, I will be thinking of me to drink a wine, but you're undrinkable. So what do we do with this situation now?
Let's go back to the papers. I believe the listeners are waiting. So what do you have to say concerning the labor strike? What is their aim exactly? I believe it started...
all the things started from the beating or the torture of the
president. Exactly.
Yes, and I don't think they're actually pressing for any reform or any benefit to the workers. And what they have done, I think, is not out of place, because that thing is actually an absurd situation whereby a whole Labour president, which is as powerful as any other governor, will just be treated that manner and people will keep quiet. Somebody was saying yesterday where I went that he would never join the strike because it was a personal issue. I don't see any reason why that thing is a personal issue. The pronouncement of a head of state of any country is a law. The pronouncement of the Labour president is also a law to Labour. So for that to have happened, it's a misplaced priority from the governor. Now they are saying that they've arrested those who attacked the president.
Okay.
The person that gave the order. What
exactly.
of the police that was there? What of the police details that when the other was saying, let's hand him over, let's take him into custody, and the commissioner was saying, no, let's leave him to the boys. Are all those people going to also be arrested? Have they queried the governor for what he has done? Because the governor took responsibility that he did it from his statement. Because he said, I don't come to Abuja to disturb the NLC. Don't come to my state to disturb me. You are coming to run to campaign against my government. All those are statements of guilt. So the government should also arrest those people if they want to put the matter to the bottom.
Okay, well said, because I think the Nigerian Tribune says federal government regrets attack on NLC president, says investigation is in process and arrests have been made. So are you sure the arrest will be complete?
Definitely to not. At the end of the day, don't be angry, please, we'll not do that again. Then maybe through backdoor they settle the whole matter. But I don't think anybody will be prosecuted because they were acting on orders from above.
Well, there you have it. Well, speaking about the other case that is still, let me call trending, talking about Sanwo-Olu's re-election, the appeal court ruling confirming his election. You know, his counterpart, that of the Labour Party and PDP, have been fighting against it. But
look, Labour Party, Lagos State, we all know from origin that state belongs to APC. Is that not a tribalistic statement? No, it is not. Follow the trend. Follow the trend. In 1999, when democracy came into place, the whole lot of the western region were for AD.
Yeah.
Then when the president, then Obasanjo, was about to be impeached in the House, it was the same AD people that never voted for him that took over the government to fight for him. So in the next election, the whole western region came together and said, look, let us give our man the base upon which he will contest the second term. The whole state withdrew, gave it to PDP, withholding Lagos only. Only Lagos remained in that party from the west. And immediately Obasanjo left, they took their states back. So when you say somebody is being tribalistic or something, it's not. We are talking of the facts on ground. And ever since then, nobody has been able to take that seat from them. Yeah, Ogun has gone back to APC. All the states, apart from, I think it's Oyo, that is Makinde. Makinde that is there. Yes, every other one is APC. So I'm only telling you, like as you are, if I say you are a light complexion fine girl, I'm not hyping you because that is how you are. So if I say nobody will take that seat from me, it's not that I'm being tribalistic. You're just stating the facts. It's stating the facts of that. Everybody knows quite well that anybody from AD or APC will win that state. It's just like when Awolowo was alive. Somebody made a statement that if Awolowo ties an imbecile on the seat, that is the governor of his state, everybody from that state will vote for him. All right, with that being said, one of the papers here talked about the tragedy that rocked Borno IDP camp for displaced people. That was very, very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate with 2 children dead. Is it deliberate? That's another one that the federal government should actually look deeply into. And it's the picture of the day for the Daily Trust, and it is not looking good. You can see that they were totally. The displays are being displaced again. So you know, where are they going to be displaced to exactly? If this is their camp for displaced people and it has been burnt. Well, another story that is not so tragic is talking about 177 Nigerians who were deported. You know. And I have another one that says from Vanguard, if I'm not mistaken, that 246 Nigerians, their visas were cancelled on arrival. Immediately they got to Saudi Arabia, visas were cancelled. Go back to your country. The Arabian countries, so to say, they have very strict rules. Sure. Yes, and they are dead to their laws. Unlike us that we don't actually take most things into cognizance. They take cognizance of most things. Before they will have deported those people, they will have found 1 or 2 things in them. They are not the first people to be traveling to Saudi Arabia. Our president just came from there, and I think it's in one of these West African countries now. None of the A's was tampered with. Exactly. For them to have done this means there are some things that they discovered which are not supposed to be, or are not in consonance with their laws. So we cannot just say that they were wrong for deporting those people. They have their own rules, and we must follow the rules. If you leave your country to another person's country, or to another person's territory, you have to follow the laws of those people. You know, there was a time in America where the blacks were being killed almost on a daily basis. Why? Most of them, they will be walking along the street with their hands in their pockets. And I mean, they don't like it. Because they believe that once you put your hands in your pocket, you want to pull out a gun. So the next person to save his life will act first. He who pulls the trigger, the first who pull the trigger, gets the day. So the Saudi Arabia have not done anything contrary to... I think it just means stay at home, stay in your own place, stay in your country. Which is not possible. But I see another headline here that says Labour Party welcomes Atiku's merger proposal. NNPP gives condition. What do you have to say? All these people that were both Labour and most of them, if I can say even 80% of them were in the PDP. Exactly. You're just, what do they call it? Is it boycotting or lobbying? Party lobbying, if I'm not mistaken. Everybody wants to get to the top, and that is why people start going through all that means to see that they will come back, they will get what they're looking for. Now that they could not, they will still come back again. There is nothing wrong. The Labour Party presidential candidate was a vice presidential candidate to Atiku in one of the elections. Sure. Kwankwaso was also there. So most of these people, they left and they are now coming back again. That is to say, no matter how the prodigal son goes, he will still come back home. Well, yes, let's come back home to our listeners. Without you, the segment would not be complete. So yes, for you to be a part of the program, do all to call the numbers there on your TV screen. But for those of you who are joining us by radio, the numbers are 081 88 888
931 or 080-22-931-931. Let's have your name, your location. I think someone is on the line. Good morning. What's your name and where you calling from?
It's Brian from Mosoga.
Please go ahead.
Okay, comrade.
I greet you.
Sir, I'm 53 years old. I don't know whether you're my senior. Are you my senior?
You are what?
53 years old.
53.
Yes.
So you have to dig well for me over 5 times.
Okay, do what, sir? Because when I call you, so you were saying I know the training how.
No, Brando. Brian. Oh yes, you're on the right track.
Labor success right. Is this on the mind? Is this a suspension temporary? Federal government get attack on labor leader. At least something is being done. At least the labor are shaking the country. So at least they should make it that they fight for the direct palliatives, even for the palliatives. Then again, federal like the Labour Party welcomes articles from that.
Hello? Oh, unfortunately, we lost that call. But yes, please do want to call us back if time permits. The numbers to remain on your screen, 081-88-888-931. While we are with the call, this particular headline gets to me. It says, reform comes with pain, but inevitable, says federal government.
Look, if you want reform to come with pains and we should bear with you, there is nothing wrong in that. I was much welcome because if you see light at the end of the tunnel, you will not be too much afraid to pass through that tunnel.
Exactly.
But when you tell us to bear, there is pains, we must bear that. The top two should be able to bear that pains.
And the top promises transparency in budgeting, expenditure, and all of that.
Where is this reformation with pains that is bringing a 5 billion naira yard, that is bringing 1.5 billion naira cap for
52 for SUVs exactly. for the Senate.
Yes, 157 million naira cap for one person. And they want you and I. Oshamale was on TV yesterday. I watched him on Channels News. When he was saying that for this labor strike to be actually in-depth, the federal government should be able to pay that 35,000 naira minimum wage, which means they've not started paying it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Oh, just promise and promise.
Yes.
Wow.
Now you want us to bear the pains because we are going to the promised land. But you already are the promised land, building mansions in the promised land. And we should all tread towards the promised land when we are not even able to cross the Red Sea. We are not even seeing the Red Sea, of course.
All right, Comrade Adomo. Hopefully we'll get the straight to cross the Red Sea.
Well,
all right, and looking at time, that is the much that we can take. I remain Sarah Mowigo, and I want to say a very big thank you to Comrade Adomo for doing this with me. I will try and do so. So until next time, good morning and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.